Hey, welcome back to this episode of Stock Market Tips, Secrets to Success. Today, we go over fundamental analysis. But before we do that, I am CEO David Diaz. If you need to know more information about me, just go to www.ceodaviddiaz.com, or you can find me on YouTube, Facebook at CEO Trades, and on Instagram, CEO Trades _line. Let's get going here. Fundamental analysis. What is it? How can you benefit from it and enjoy the process? So, fundamental analysis is a method of evaluating a security in an attempt to assess its intrinsic value by examining related economic, financial, and other qualitative and quantitative factors. So we're going to go over different examples of how I find fundamental analysis information in reference to a company. I do this every day. Every day, it's a habit. If you are serious about investing, then you've got to start to do this every day. What's so important about fundamental analysis? The statistics, the numbers that are behind it. That's all, just the numbers. So get ready. You're going to see a lot of numbers. You're going to see a lot of different symbols, and you're going to see a lot of words, new words that you'll become accustomed to. Just like me, when I started out, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my God, I have to remember all of these. Well, yes and no. So I don't know every single word that you're going to find in these financial statements and so on, because the information on these forms, it's a lot, and not everyone utilizes them in the same format. So I'm going to attempt to make this as simple and easy for you as possible. So here we go. Apple on this day opened at $124.05 a share. It closed at $125.57 a share. The high that day was $124.21. The low was at $122.39. And the volume that day was 47.8 million shares. That's right. Now you can see here that that's the current price at that time that I took the screenshot. It was 2% below its actual value. The actual sell price, the bid, buy, was 120, 122. Bid means buy, and that's for me is to sell. And then ask is people who want to buy. So it's the opposite, and that's for 122.89. Now you can also see that in certain websites, you're going to have the recommendations of certain teams. So you have the research team, the CFRA team, the street team, the Market Edge. Market Edge says avoid. The street says buy. CFRA says gives it 4 stars. Now, research team, reduce. What does this all mean? This is the recommendations from each of these, the analysts within those companies. So it is up to you to decide if you're going to follow them or if you're not going to follow them. Sometimes it's spot on, but usually it's not. It's not spot on. It all depends on the movement. I believe that some of this information is either delayed or it's not posted as regularly as you think. So you have to be careful and be aware when these sources of information are more accurate than not. You see, you can download here the actual information that will tell you when they were updated. But you can see right here, it gives you a date. I know it's a little small. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. You can see there that this one was done on March 12th, 2021, March 7th, 2021, March 6th, 2021, and March 14th, 2021. So, this information is very useful and can provide you with everything that you need in order to build statistics. So let's take a look at another part of this fundamental analysis. Now here you see a lot of numbers. These numbers here, well, first of all, the letterings are on the on the side. Just going to look at the white letters up here. Share values, earnings per share, dividends per share, book value per share, cash flow per share, free cash flow, sales per share. I don't look at any of this. I don't see a need for it. If I were an analyst or an accountant or someone who's looking to get a better edge on a specific company, then I might consider this. I don't need to know all of that information. Profitability, and there are different ways to see the profit, activity ratios, total asset turnover, financial ratios. I don't use much of this information, but you can see it's for the current quarter, 5-quarter trend, if it's going up or down, 2019, 2020, the 4 quarters are right there. So this is information found on the fundamental analysis. It keeps going on, financial ratios, valuation. I don't use most of this information except for down here. Down here. This is constantly changing. Total shares outstanding, 16 billion, 16,788,096,000 shares. That is constantly changing. If the price goes down, this the total shares outstanding will go down. If the market cap, if the price goes down, the market cap will change, not the total shares outstanding. Sorry, it's the other way around. So there's 2 million shares available, which is weird. And then 16 billion shares outstanding. Now, there's something wrong here. So this, you're going to run into this on a regular basis when you're looking at these softwares, that the numbers are not terribly accurate unless millions start at 75 million or it starts at 61 million and then it's 2 billion. But I don't think it's that way. I think it's 2 trillion, most probably, billion and million. So it's 2 trillion is the market cap for Apple. 2 trillion, 2 billion. That's right. 2 billion. I know it is because I was reading an article the other day. So it's actually 2 billion, 2 billion, and it's on its way headed towards 3 billion. If certain news comes out, they're expecting to do their own cars. They're expecting to advance in making a joint venture, hopefully with some car company like Volkswagen. Hint, hint. I don't know if it's true, but I'm just throwing it out there. There's a chance that it might happen. Valuation highlights. iPhone constitutes 42% of the Trefis price estimate for Apple stock. I don't know what Trefis is. We could look that up easily. 42% of sales from the phone, 23% from other services, Apple Watch and so on, accessories and TV, 16%. So this is why it's important. It shows you a lot of information that is very useful, especially the total shares outstanding and the market cap. What this does not show me is the float and the short interest. I haven't been able to find it on these pages, and that's why I rely on other software as well. Apple, what has changed in the company? So it posts, the first quarter of 2021 this year, 111 billion, a 21% increase, launch of iPhone 12, and so on. So this is the type of information that is pretty powerful. Business summary, sources of value, large mobile phone market. The smartphone market is significantly larger than the tablet market, and margins in the smartphone business are also likely to be higher. Globally, about 1.4 billion smartphones were shipped globally in 2019. However, there's more competition. There's it's not just 1 or 2 competitors anymore. So that can change the aspects of the competition, and it might affect the price eventually. And I hope it does, because the prices I've seen are exuberant, very high for cell phones. Increasing competition, and saturation in high end of smartphone market. Look at that. Look at that. So if we read into that, it will tell you more information. I don't really need to go into all of this. So I'd like to move along. This tells you how the profits are broken up. So iPhone constitutes 42%, services 23%, the Apple Watch TV and accessories 15%, Mac, iPad, and cash balance. You can see there. So there is a positive cash balance, which is good for the company. Now, this is looking at another software, and we are looking here at, I don't remember which, oh, F-Cell, sorry, right up here, F-Cell. Wow, I blanked out there for a second. So this one breaks it up a little bit differently than the other one does. It breaks it up a little bit differently. So here you have the market cap. It's 5.3 billion for Fuel Cell, which I am invested in and I believe in. I don't look at everything in here. That I could give you the definitions for all of this, and that would take a lot. What you want to look at, I mean, the SMA 20, you can see what it's been for the last 20 days. Simple moving average is what SMA stands for. It's negative 13%. The 50-day moving average is 21%. The 200 days, 95%. 95%. And that's because last year in March, there was a market crash because of the coronavirus craze. So that's why 200 days simple moving average is much higher than the shorter term. Now, for the next year, these numbers will be more realistic. They're not going to be that high unless the market crashes again, right? PE is price earnings ratio. Can you use it? Yes, you can. There are ways to calculate it. I haven't focused on using it. Earnings per share is good when it's earnings time. How do you know when it's earnings time? If you come down here, the same row, all the way down, here's the date that they give you the information for earnings. If usually I avoid the days that earnings come out because most companies do not make their earnings. It's unfortunate, but they don't make their earnings. So just be aware of that, meaning stocks drop. Stocks drop. Maybe a lot, maybe just a little. Insider owned stocks, 3.882% of the total shares available. 0.07% insider transactions. Institution owned, 31%. Institution transactions, 1.81%. What's important about these? I mean, this is so that you can separate the total amount of shares that are available, and then you divide each of these parts into that, and that's how you get the total shares available. However, there is usually a simpler method to using that. Now, ROA, ROI, return of interest, I don't know. I haven't used any of these. I don't know if you can use them. There are people who utilize these numbers. I haven't figured out how to use them yet. I don't see a need, but these are the numbers I look for. Shares outstanding. The shares of the float, these are the shares that are actually available. 309 million. It's not 322 million. Now, out of that amount right there, 8.51% is available to short. So you figure that is 8.51 on 100 million. So that's about 85,000 shares. If I'm right, yeah, 85,000 shares. I believe that's what it is. If not, 851,000 shares times 3. Is that, yeah, so that's probably right. 851,000 shares times 3. Let's see, 30, 300, 85,000 shares is most probably accurate. I'm just trying to do the numbers in my head, so sorry if I'm off. The RSI, it's sometimes good. It depends on which indicators you're attempting to use. I don't use RSI. I just use the numbers that I just told you, the shares float, short float. Then I use the average volume and the daily volume. The daily volume shows you where the trend is going. So you see that the average volume is supposed to be 49 million. Well, this stock only traded a third of its normal volume on this day, a third, right? So this is F-Cell, fuel cell. So just be aware that that can change. Performance the last week was 1.25%. I don't really use a lot of these numbers. You can beta, yeah, you can average to range, you can use them. I don't see a need. So if you see a need, great, but I don't see a need. Previous close, very important. I keep these statistics. Why? Because they're not there all the time. They keep changing every day. They change. The current price is $14.77. How much of a change? Minus 4% down. So that's how you figure what a stock is. And then up here, it tells you what it is. It's industrial sector, and it focuses on electrical equipment and parts in the US of A. So there, when you come to this website, which I'm going to be showing you in another session, because you should be aware of where to find this information, mostly for free. Obviously, if you pay, you have certain perks, but on average, you should be able to get most of this information for free. You can click this blue link here, statements, and it'll give you more information. I believe I have it down here. Yep, here it is. So under that statement, you'll get the income statement right here, income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow. Let's look at them quickly. So do I use any of these? Not really. I mean, you can look at total revenue, cost of revenue, operating expenses. You want to know if a company is in debt more than anything. Let's see here, cash and short-term investments. So how much cash do they have? That would be useful. Now you can tell that their cash increased immensely for this past year. Obviously, there were stimuluses for companies that were doing not too great. So maybe FCell got a stimulus. If not, maybe they got a big advancement for a purchase on their electric vehicle batteries. So this is the total assets of the company for the years. As you could see, 2020 was huge compared to the other years. That's a huge jump. Total current liabilities. Those are the numbers. What else can we look in here? Total equity, other equity, total equity. Let's see. All right. Now this one is Macy's. You see it right there? It says, and it says it's a consumer discretionary fund, Macy's. And this gives you a description, the address, the website. You can see the price here, and then open, close, high, low, volume. I like this. So I like this. I like Macy's. I'm a fan of Macy's, but now that the price is very high, and I told people it's going to go that high, I like to cash out. It usually doesn't do the same thing twice. So cashing out at a rate like what it is right now is great. It's the same sheet again, financial summary, financial statement, sorry, for the annual or quarterly, which I don't think I mentioned that before. There's other information here, and we'll go over that as we go into the software in another section. So there's more information here. You can see the total shares outstanding, the market cap. NEO, another stock I invest in. Hey, sorry, I'm picking my own. Not that you have to invest in these. It depends on the current time that you're listening to this video, but this is just as an example. The same information, sell, buy. There's only a sell rating here, which is weird, but I guess they're the only company that had an analyst check them out, and that was on March 7th. So I'm pretty certain the other analysts will be updating their information accordingly as time progresses, or when it's, because it's done at a certain time and point every year. So here again, we see another financial statement, another part of the financial statement. Ford. All right. Now this one, you can see that FCell didn't say anything up here, but this one's listed. Ford is listed on S&P 500. It's 46.7 billion market cap. And then I'd go, you can check the SMA simple moving average and see that it's gaining. It was 2% just about the last 20 days, almost 11% the last 50 days, and 49% the last 200. But as I said, last year this stock was around $6 or $7. I think it was even low. No, it was $2.50. I purchased one share at $2.50. I got lucky. But the rest of the shares were like $6. I purchased the rest at like $7 a share. So that's where this 50% comes in from. Shares outstanding, which is what I go by. Shares float, short float, previous close, the price, the actual price, average to range. Those are the numbers that I look for. They're They're very important. Income statement again. There we go. Now with Ford, we're going to look at a different softwares now coming up. So here's another software. This one shows summary, company outlook chart, conversation statistics, historical data, profile financials, and analysis. So this one lists in a different format. And basically, I look for the same information that I just told you. The earnings per share, as you can see here in the bottom left here, the earnings per share is what people look for. It came out on March 30th, 2020, 6/9/12/30. So that means that the earnings per share are coming out at the end of March of this year. And people look for that. And you can see it's missed. It's missed every year. Every year it's missed. And that affects the stock. The value of the stock will probably drop a few points. So that's why I tell people the best things you can do is take gains. Take gains. The second best thing you can do if a stock is dropping is cut your losses. So if you know that a stock is going down, cut. I cut mine today and I made over $2,000. I left like 600 on the table. So that's what happens when you are investing. That's normal. All right, now we're looking at a different financial statement. Now we're looking in a software that I'm liking a bit. And here is what we see. You see the income, the balance, the cash flow, finance ratio. You have the financial forecast, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. So it shows you all this information here. And let me just look at the other pages. Here's another page. You can see the balance. So I don't technically go into all these numbers and so on. I don't know how they can assist me yet. Maybe I will in the future. Here's the cash flow. So I guess it's just showing the ratio up here, the cash flow as it's been per quarter, year over year. And then the finance ratio, there you can see it used to be, or what we're looking at by quarter. For last year's 2020, you can see all 4 quarters and then the new year. And then here's another one. This I like. It's much easier to review. So you can see the open, the day low, the day high, the 52-week low, 52-week high, the average volume, market cap, the earnings ESP, which you have heard in a previous video, what it is, most accurate estimate. And that's it. Let's see what else here. So here's the financials of the company, price per the value of the book, price on cash versus cash flow. Don't really use a lot of this information either, but I just want to show you how different softwares have different ways of showing you things. All right. So now with the fundamentals analysis, the statistics that I write down, this is what I write down on my spreadsheet, which I will show you in a future video as we go hands-on how I write up my day. So the stock name, the ticker symbol is the first thing I put on the left column. Then I put the open price. Then I put the close price. HOD stands for high of day. So LOD stands for low of day. And then I'd put the previous price. Very important to know what the price was the day before. The volume, the average volume for the day, the market cap, the float and the short, the percentage of the short, the percentage of either gain or loss, your entry, your exit. Very important to keep track of your own investments, because that way you can always revisit them and see where you were wrong. You could have a better entry rate. According to my coach, my financial coach, my guru, he has estimated that on average, he has improved his entry and exit points by at least 15%. And that is fabulous. At least 15%. I see him doing gains regularly, and he does not go out there and attempt to invest every day. He looks for specific plays. And that's what this assists you with. This helps you to formulate a specific plan so that you're able to enter into an investment with more knowledge than the average person. And that's why sometimes in some of my videos, I can tell you certain things that on average, you probably can't even know, because I do some of these tabulations in my head, or I know them already from what I've seen. So this is why it's important to have a financial analysis statistics sheet. And I recommend that you start out right away, as soon as possible. You don't have to invest. You don't have to have an entry point or an exit point. All you have to do is keep tabs of the remaining information. That's it for Financial Analysis 205. Stock market tips, secret to success. I am CEO David Diaz.